Next up, we will hear from Luann Abrams, founder of CEOX. Luann Abrams is a partner in the Abrams Group, advising, investing, and supporting the people, companies, and causes that will leave it better. Prior to starting CEOX, she ran an early-stage venture fund with a dedicated mentorship program in Bend. Luann has a background in aerospace engineering and spent most of her 15 years at startup Columbia Aircraft, where she oversaw the certification of several aircraft models and ensured that all designs met applicable regulations. Due to her diligence and integrity, she was granted the authority to sign off on regulatory compliance on behalf of the FAA prior to aircraft delivery. In 2017, she was inducted into the International Air and Space Hall of Fame as part of the Golden Eagles flight team. Please help me welcome Luann.
Thank you for getting me out of my house, where I have become entirely too comfortable these days. So 4 years ago, I had been involved in venture capital, and I just got to see up close and personal how broken venture is for women on many different levels. And one of the things I kept seeing was that it was not uncommon for founders to be replaced through the growth cycle of their companies. And every single time I watched this happen, it was a man given that CEO role, including when it was a women's healthcare platform for tracking your fertility. And yes, up jumps a white man as the new CEO. And I was mad at that point. I just thought it was so ridiculous. I knew so many amazing qualified women. Why were they not being considered for these roles? And so digging in, what I found is that there's a lot of bias issues at play, but the overpowering one is that it's not uncommon that men are hired on potential and women are hired on what they've accomplished already. So it's an obvious catch-22 with women that if you have not been a CEO, then you're not going to be considered for that CEO role. The other thing that I found is that, especially at the smaller and mid-sized venture funds, they're not hiring executive recruiters who do have the potential to at least give diverse candidates and find them. They tend to go into their networks. So you get, as you know, venture is very male-dominated. You get a bunch of men going into their networks. And I mean literally scrolling through their LinkedIn and finding, what are they going to find there? People just like themselves. And it happens over and over again. And so the idea was CEOX. I was going to go out and find these women and make it very easy to connect to the VCs when they are in these positions where they're needing to find a new CEO for their company. And you know, there's a lot of reasons to be focused here. There is a lot of data showing that women-led companies are going to make you, as an investor, more money. So why they don't do a better job of doing this, I don't know. Women-led companies generate more revenue. They use invested dollars to better effect. They exit on average a year earlier. And my favorite statistic of all is that women have happier employees. And I just think about what this world would be like with more happy people running around. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons to be doing this. So I really think of CEOX as three things. First of all, there's the placement and actually connecting these women to CEO roles. There is the community aspect. I have just under 1,000 CEOX candidates currently, and bringing all of these high-level women together has been just really profound. There's a lot of collaboration that comes from it. There are jobs that are placed from it. Whenever a woman needs help with something, advice, referrals, there's this huge community to do it. And then, of course, the advocacy and bringing awareness to a lot of these issues that are out there. So that is what I do. And you heard I'm an engineer by trade, and I am very happy sitting behind a computer all day and not talking to anyone, which is not very conducive to my job, where I talk to people all day long. And so I got to a point at the beginning of this year where I'm like, this is the time where the founder brings in a CEO. And that is where I am now. Of course, the first place I went into was the CEOX network. And I said, I need somebody who is going to have business development background, that loves sales and marketing and knows what to do there. And I am in process of hiring my own CEO now, and that is my community update.
My first question is, are you hiring for any other roles, Luann? Because, wow, this is so amazing. What's been the most surprising thing for you as you've undertaken this?
That there are a lot of freaking amazing, talented, smart women out there. And I mean, I knew that really, but when I get to talk to them on a daily basis, I'm just like, and then the other thing that is a little not as happy as that is that, I tell a story about walking into my first business meeting. I worked at a very large aircraft company. I walked in, I was introduced around, and one of the men said in full voice to the others, "Wow, she has great legs." Wow. And that was my first business experience. And I would like to say that doesn't happen anymore. And the one thing I can tell you from these conversations is that kind of stuff happens today. And that's what I think we need to be really mindful of. It's gotten better. It is still alive and well.
Yeah, I can confirm. Okay, questions from the crowd? Yes. She's followed you for years.
You've been a great supporter. Thank you.
Well, and the data is overwhelming. So why isn't the data speaking?
Yeah, I have this question too. The data is overwhelming, so why isn't it speaking? Why isn't it being responded to appropriately?
Good question. I've actually asked some people this question, and one of the responses I've received is that we simply don't believe it. So there's that.
That's so cute.
But I think that most people connect with others that are like themselves. And when you are hiring for a big role like CEO, you need to feel comfortable with that hire. You can't just go off data. You want to feel comfortable. And unfortunately, feeling comfortable with someone does not indicate great leadership. You don't necessarily want to have beers with your next CEO. You don't necessarily want to have beers with your president. It's two very different things. And so if you can at least overcome that within yourself and be aware that comfort, that confidence, there's no correlation, as you know, between confidence and being a good leader, but you're more likely to hire a person that comes across as very confident. So, I think the biggest thing we can do is really be self-reflective and look at what our biases are and know what they are. I'm fairly confident I know what my biases are. I think about them. I reflect on a regular basis about, why did that person, kind of feel off to me? And was it because they really are, I should be aware of something bad about that person, or is it a bias? And I think that through those things, and I think all of us as leaders need to be doing that.
Yeah, well said. I'm sure you see this a lot too, because the other thing we can give the opportunity, but we have to make sure that we're putting that person in a safe for them working environment, right? So you can put someone in the position, but if they aren't respected and the work around them, the staff around them aren't supportive and on board with that, that's not going to work.
And I've made that mistake in this role. It happens a lot when you have founders that are sometimes replacing themselves. And I had one situation where it was 3 founders. They wanted a CEO. And really, in the end, they wanted somebody to do all the work, but they wanted to be in the background telling her what to do. It did not work out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Yes.
Bruce, white male here.
Thanks for joining us.
I was more curious how you're maybe recruiting, or how are you going after businesses? How are you finding businesses? How are you taking it from your network of all these wonderful women, and how do you find the right companies? What is that middle bridge process?
This is a great question. Yeah, how are you going out and finding the companies? How are you recruiting? How are you going beyond your network and building it out? I love this question.
Yes, and thank you for that. So it's 2 sides. First, I have to find the women, and then the companies. So finding the women started, I started emailing executives, high-level successful CEOs and C-suite individuals, and saying, who have you worked with that would make a great CEO? Send her my way. And so all of the women that are in CEOX have been referred by a successful senior leader. So that's how I find them.
Are those senior leaders also male, or are they male?
Both.
Female?
Both. Yep.
Were those people that were already in your network, or you're just trying to go?
No, I mean that's where I started, right? It was, for me, it was baby steps. I started with my network. Ray was one of the first people I emailed saying, hey. It was scary for me to do, but everybody wanted to help. I got lots of people. Now at this point, I don't have to actively ask anymore, but I do. So anybody here that wants to nominate women in the network, please send them my way. But so that's the leader side, and then I mostly do outreach to VCs. I already had a pretty big network of VCs because I had been investing in that and working in that already. But I do a lot of just outreach to VCs on LinkedIn. I tend to reach out to women VCs because they see this problem. They're acutely aware of it. And then for every VC, they have numerous portfolio companies. So, it's not like this CEO replacement happens to every company, but if you're a VC that has, say, 20 to 25 portfolio companies, it's probably something you address once a year at least. And you might also be helping them find board roles or COO roles too. So I can work with all of those.
That's great. Okay, yes.
So that actually begs the question, do you try to also recruit for the other C-suite? Because you just said for board.
Yeah,
So
do you...
even though it's called CEOX, I'm sorry, you're just repeating.
Yeah. Do you also recruit for the entire C-suite in addition to CEOs?
Yes. I like to keep that focus, though, on CEOs, so I talk about it because that's really where the problem lies, and I think the solution to more diversity in companies also lies in getting more women in CEO roles. To my knowledge, I'm the only company that focuses on getting women in CEOs. There's been a huge surge of amazing groups that focus on getting women on boards. Super important, but we need women leading companies to really see these benefits.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, one more in the back.
So kind of tying back to maybe the earlier, more philosophical part of the conversation, but also tying to boards. Having been in corporate America for 20 years, I guess one of the things that I think is an underlying root cause of the problem is what is valued, right? And if it's typically a male workforce at that C-suite level, then they are deciding what is valued, and then they are deciding then who comes in and what's valued. And so if the board is then making the decision on the CEO, then it backs up even further. And so I guess I'm curious on what your perspective is on that dynamic of what's valued as part of the root cause of this situation.
Yeah, so this is a great question. She's been in corporate America for 20 years, and she is reflecting on this decision to choose a CEO is often based on what is valued. And if you have a very heavy male-dominated C-suite, what is valued may not be what you are proposing to put in place. And she's just wondering about that dynamic and what you're doing about it.
I try to bring awareness to this. I mean, this is not an easy problem to solve. I wish I could just say, hey, everybody, listen to what I said. Trust me on this. It will get better. But it's just not the reality of the situation. And so I think as we learn more, as we see more evidence, as we see more role models, the idea of what is valued is changing slowly, certainly not fast enough. But there are vast structural changes in business that have to be done in order to get where we want to be.
Yeah, and that self-reflection piece is critical. Yeah, thank you. I have one follow-up question. So what is your capacity? Because I have a feeling like we all know a lot of people we want to send your way. So what does that look like, and how do we get you these people, and how many can you take? How big is the bus, Luann?
I know. So CEOX is really just me. So there's that. But I do, I make time. I have an onboarding conversation with every woman that is sent my way. I sometimes have helpers that have those conversations, but in general, it is me. And I assure you, I can handle anybody you send my way.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, I know that we still have a lot of questions for you, so please connect with Luann. Follow her on LinkedIn, connect with her on LinkedIn, support this business. This is amazing. Thank you so much, and I hope you'll come back and give us an update soon.